Okay, everybody, you are back with lecture 5. Okay, in the lecture 4, we went through the details about loop gain shaping, and in this lecture, we also discussed the loop gain shaping for the feedback compensation design, and we'll evaluate the performance of our converter using asymptotic analysis method. So this is the keyword for the feedback compensation design, and this one is a keyword for the evaluation of closure performance of your converter. Okay, so this is the previous example. So this is the loop gain shaping, right? Let me say just two things. Okay, maybe I already told you the ideal structure of this loop gain is this straight line with minus slope from the low frequency to higher frequency. That was impossible to our case because presence of the double pole here. So it is impossible to cancel this. And this high frequency asymptote, this minus 2 slope is coming from this higher frequency compensation pole. It was necessary to knock out the high frequency noise, otherwise will appear at the output voltage of compensation, which is control voltage, and that will interfere with the PWM process, and system becomes unstable, not because of this stability problem, but because of the noise problem. Okay, to avoid that, we need this. So, but this general shape is very similar to this -1 straight line. So this is the desirable compensation, desirable loop gain structure. And this might be called loop gain shaping. And another one is here, the phase is changing this 90 degree, 0 degree, minus 90 degree, and the phase margin remain 90 degree for this frequency. That is not true. In practice, this asymptotic plot, we assumed this corner frequency are widely separated. Okay, at least more than 10 times or 20 times, that is impossible. So relatively they are crowded. So actual result is something similar to this. Actually, if you measure your loop gain or simulate your loop gain, either using small signal model or time domain model based on the computational method, then the phase will be something like this. Okay? Because of they are not widely separated. So you don't see this clear distinction end of this asymptote. Right? So this maximum phase, the maximum attainable phase margin in practice is maybe 60 to 70 degree. Okay? So this one is the maximum you can obtain practically. Right? If you increase this further, maybe possible, you should sacrifice something. All right? But this is the general case. Everything remains the same. So I'd like to make this additional comment. This -2 slope is coming from the consideration of high frequency noise at the output of voltage feedback compensation. And this is coming from the power stage dynamics. You cannot avoid this, and there's no need to knock out this to make this straight line. Okay, there's no benefit of that. Okay, that's one thing. And then from this observation, this is the guideline for the selecting these corner frequencies, right? We already know this structure is best. This 3-pole 2-0 structure is best, and remaining task is how to determine value of this. Okay, these 5 parameters. We know one. Okay, omega p1 will be placed ESR 0. First, the omega p1 is placed at omega ESR. That is the effect of the to nullify. Nullify means to cancel. Okay, so with this they cancel. So it maintains this -1 slope for the wider frequency range. That is the only purpose of this. Okay, and that 2 0 are coming. So we from the conditionally stability story. 1 0, 1 omega G1 comes before this double frequency. The other one comes from the after double frequency. And omega G1 is placed, I recommend, This is my recommendation. I'm recommending this in my book. Okay. So I'm recommending this. Place this to 60-80% of this omega naught with double pole frequency. All right. Later on, you will see this omega G1 will determine speed of step impulse response. If a step change occurs, output voltage will change, will go back to the steady state value. That time period is determined by this. Higher this one, faster the response. But if you pass this, if you exceed this, you will come up with conditional instability problem. So you want to increase this up to this, but you need to have some margin, 20% margin. So because you are quite sure the value of this omega naught, okay, there is some component tolerance. Considering everything, maybe this is the good number, right? And the other 0, omega G2 should appear after this one, okay? How much? How much? Sooner the better, okay? Sooner you have the larger boosting effect, okay? But this occurs after this frequency. No. Okay. All right. So it should occur after this double frequency. How much? 1 to 5 to 33 point. Okay. So it's slightly larger than this one, but definitely smaller than crossover frequency. Okay. If this approach, if you use number 5 and this goes to almost the crossover frequency, the gain boost effect, it will be just waste. Okay. After crossover frequency, you may put thousands of zeros, but they are all waste. No impact on the loop gain. Phase margin. Okay. So to have the effect of boosting effect, this occur after this double pole frequency because of the consideration of conditional stability, but it should not pass the loop gain crossover frequency considering the phase boosting effect. Okay, it comes near the crossover frequency of loop gain. Phase boosting effect will be minimized. You are just wasting the phase boosting effect. So for that reason, you place this. Okay, so this is my recommendation. And first 0 is placed here. Then this second 0, location of second 0 is related with this switching frequency. Suppose this is the switching frequency, all right? So high frequency noise is coming from this switching frequency, right? So this omega P2 should be placed well before this frequency. Placing this after this, there is no effect on this switching frequency noise. So to have this reasonable attenuation at this switching frequency, this should occur well below this switching frequency. Okay? So, but if you increase this, it hurts the phase characteristic here. So considering everything, I recommend this one, 0.5 to 0.6 of switching frequency. All right? So this is related with the switching frequency. And one last one is this one. This loop gain crossover frequency, and the loop gain crossover frequency selection is directly related with the determination of this integrator KB. By changing this KB, the loop gain crossover frequency is directly affected by value of the KB, and the loop gain crossover frequency is recommended to place 0.5 to 0.3 of switching frequency. Why is that? Why I'm doing this? I know this, okay? I'll explain this later. There is a long story behind this, okay? But this is a final conclusion, and maybe 20% might be okay, but very risky, okay? 0.5, you are in danger of meeting instability, okay? So this is a good number. 0.1 to 0.3, probably 0.2 is the good number, Okay, so now everything is selected. Okay, omega P1, omega G1, omega G2, and omega C, omega P2, everything is selected. Okay, omega C is selected, but you need to select this. Okay, so omega C is given in advance. Okay, so omega C frequency is determined, and to evaluate integrated gain KB, to locate omega C at your target frequency is the final task here. Okay? All right. This is a magnetic plot of our loop gain. So it starts from -1 slope, and this is the horizontal line, and -2 slope, omega G2, and omega C crossover frequency. Okay. This is prefixed at 1.2, no, 0.1 to 0.3 times omega S. So you select, suppose you select 0.2. It's already selected, and to have loop gain crossover frequency at this frequency, you need to select the KB, okay? KB, because this is the equation S in the denominator KP. So this is the related to KP. So this KP, by changing this will be changed, and KP is somehow related with KB. Okay, so from this equation, and for the desired omega C, you select KB is the final step. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so KT expression of this TM is this one, all right? And you evaluate this at omega G1 at this frequency, then you don't look this, okay? Just look this, then place omega G1 here, and this is the value KT divided omega G1, and you have expression of the KT. KT is given by Vs times KB divided by DM. VM is height of the ramp, and this is the variable we want to know. We're going to determine here. This is the KB. Okay, KB is here, right? Right. Then this is a value, and this is the value in log scale, and this horizontal line, this value remain the same. So same value at this point is maintained here, and from here slope is decreasing. This -2 from omega naught to omega G2, and the slope is declining with -1 slope from omega G2 to omega C. At point, this becomes 0. That is the definition of loop gain crossover frequency. So this one is maintained here, so same value here, and is declining with this slope, and further declining with this slope from here to there, from here to there. So you have minus sign here, and this is dB scale, right? And this value, we know this value. This value is this one. So you have equation in log scale, and this is 1, okay? Then you change, you go to the linear scale, then this becomes squared, and this minus becomes swap in the numerator and the denominator, something like this, something like this. Then you have equation here. Then this can be solved by solved for KB with other known variables. All right? Okay? So you did some algebra, very complicated algebra. If you use expression of everything, you calculate this, you will be crazy. Okay? But this is extremely easy. This is called algebra on graphics. Okay? So this is the basic idea of doing this. Okay? And the final conclusion. Let me finish up this by showing this slide. Okay, this is the compensation design procedure. This is taken from my book, so you already know this. Omega P1 at omega ESR, omega G1, omega G2, omega P2, omega C, once omega C is determined, KB is determined by this equation, as the final step, you can simulate. Or just, okay, simulate. And just take a look at phase margin and make sure your phase margin something between 45 to 70 degrees. Okay? So this will be done at your first trial. Okay? You don't repeat anything, just you first do it, then you will obtain somewhere here. Okay? You confirm this with the small signal simulation, or you use the time domain simulation, computational method, either one is okay. Okay? Just take a look at the phase margin, then if you're happy with this, then everything is done. So all of these are determined, then go to the equation for your voltage feedback compensation, and we have 5 equations there. Oh, where is it? Okay. We have 5 equations there, but you need to determine these 6 variables. How are you going to do this? There is more variables than equation. Then you select one arbitrarily. You select this one as 22K or 10K. Do not use something strange. 1 mega, 1 ohm is a very stupid choice. Okay, just select the reasonable one. 10K or 20K, 22K is the standard resistors. Then select one of them. Then you do that. You know this. Then this will be solved one by one. Okay, maybe you write down some simple program, not a program, simple toy. Okay, then you get this. Right? Okay. All right. Let's start this lecture. I think we start somewhere in the middle of the lecture 5. So we'll continue from that lecture slide. I think we stopped here. Okay. So basically what we have discussed is the loop gain shaping technique and the details about loop gain shaping and structure of voltage feedback compensation and the parameters. Location of 5 parameters and compensation. Circuit KB, omega G1, omega G2, omega P1, omega P2. There is a rule. Okay, if you follow this rule, you're okay. Your design will be excellent. Okay. So next thing we need to discuss is this one, loop gain and audio susceptibility. So this is the closed loop analysis for the performance evaluation of this PWM converter. So basically, we'll use the asymptotic analysis method to predict the transfer function of closed loop transfer function. So this is application of asymptotic analysis method. Oh boy. Okay. This is the loop gain structure. You know how to reshape this. And this is the equation of the loop gain. So KT is all of the constant combined together. So SKT divided by S is this linear line segment declining with -1 slope. And we have omega G1 and omega double pole is coming here. And another compensation 0. And this omega P1 is placed here at omega ESR. So they cancel. So you are not seeing this. And finally, omega P2 is here. Okay. So this is the magnitude asymptotic plot of loop gain and the equation of the loop gain. And this is the asymptotic plot of input to output transfer function. Input to output transfer function is very simple. VSS is we have D, this is the DC voltage gain, and we have ESR 0, S divided by omega ESR is coming here, and this is a standard quadratic term, S squared divided by omega not squared. Okay, so this is the asymptotic plot of magnitude of this. So low frequency asymptote is 20 log D, and here is a double pole. Okay, the slope is decaying with minus 2 slope up to this frequency, and you hit omega ESR, and the slope is changed to -1. Okay, so from this and this, you can construct the asymptotic plot of audio susceptibility. The equation of original equation of audio susceptibility is here, but we defined this. It's not an approximation. It's a definition, new definition. We consider this is the expression of audio susceptibility at the frequency where magnitude of loop gain is larger than unity, and the other higher frequency, it follows GBS. Okay, so the borderline between this approximation is this loop gain crossover frequency omega C. So after that frequency, audio is just following this GBS plot, and below this frequency, you have a subtraction rule, because the division in linear scale becomes the subtraction in log scale. So the length of this is the same as this. Okay, it looks different. They should be the same, and the length of this one is same as this, and the length of this one is the same, should be same as this. Okay, because we are subtracting this, and you can evaluate the slope, this slope and this slope, they are same, then the result of this slope is flat. Okay, and this is -1. Okay, this is 0. So 0 minus 1 becomes +1, so on. Okay, so you can evaluate this very easily. You can plot this automatically, graphically. So you are not using any analytical manipulation here. Just everything is done in graphical manner. So this is the asymptotic plot, and for constructing the asymptotic plot, you start from the high frequencies, and go down to low frequency, and constructing the expression of this closed transfer function, you start from the low frequency. Okay, it's just the convenience of doing this job. This is convenient for me, at least. And we have this differentiation, and we have S, and we have some differentiation K, and here this omega G1 is coming here, and it becomes pole. Okay, and it follows this horizontal line, and at this point we have another pole here, you have another pole, and finally you have omega ESR 0. Okay, so 0 in the compensation, they are coming from this compensation, becomes pole in the closed transfer function. Why is that? That is because the expression is TF is here, is in the denominator. So this pole becomes 0 becomes pole here. Okay, because they are appearing in the denominator. Okay, that is a very simple rule. Okay, and this expression, and you need to determine this Ka. Other than this Ka, everything is known. Okay, so there are many ways of doing this, but one easy way is take a look at this corner frequency. Actually, any corner frequency is good for this evaluation, but this one is convenient. Okay, so this value is determined by this line segment. So this AUS, magnitude of AUS, evaluate at this frequency. Omega G1 is this one, is just Ka times omega G1. Okay, this value is the same as this minus this one. Okay, because this is the way of doing subtraction, right? So this value is D, okay, D, 20 log D, D and subtracting this much, which is same as this. Okay, then this is the equation of this is KT divided by S, and you put omega G1 here. So this is linear scale. I skipped the log scale, but you can imagine that. So Ka omega G1 should be same as D divided by KT divided by omega G1. Okay, then this cancel, and Ka is this one. Okay, so everything is known. This is analytical expression of this audio susceptibility. Later on, we evaluate the accuracy of this. Okay, suppose you are doing same thing using some equation that is impossible. Okay, you can use some Mathcad or some stupid program that generates the pages of equation. That's garbage, meaningless. There is no information or any design inside there. Okay, so this is kind of approximation, asymptotic approximation of closed loop transfer function. So all the corner frequencies are known. Probably this one is, you want to know this one. Okay, the smaller is better. As I said, ideally this should be negative infinity dB. Okay, that means this audio is 0. Then output is always regulated at a constant during the transient as well as the steady state, regardless of any changes in the input voltage. But practically that is impossible. So you want to minimize this. So you reduce this much. This area of this Tm and this 0 dB line is the benefit of the negative feedback you obtain by employing the negative feedback control. Here. So you may want to know the peak value of this. It's extremely simple. This is equation. This is equation, and the Ka is here. Then you just evaluate this value. S is this one, omega G1, and the Ka is this one. Okay, it's shown here. So this is the peak value of this flat maximum value of audio susceptibility, which is this one. Okay, so this is very obvious. Okay. Same thing here. So there are three important closed loop transfer functions. One is the loop gain. We shaped the loop gain. So everything is known about the loop gain. Actually, we designed the loop gain. And the other one is audio susceptibility. And the other one is the output impedance. So this is the expression for the output impedance. Everything remains the same. So this is the asymptotic magnitude of the loop gain. And this is the open loop load current to output transfer function. If you remember the equation you went through before, so there is a low frequency gain of 20 log RL. RL is ESR of inductor, and low frequency 0, which is RL divided by L, and this is 0 and double pole. So this +1 slope reduced to the -1 slope going down, and at high frequencies we have omega ESR, and the high frequency asymptote is ESR of output capacitor. At the high frequency, the output impedance is ESR of capacitor parallel with load resistor R, which is much bigger than RC. So we are seeing only this smaller one. This is true regardless of presence of the feedback loop. This is true for the open loop load current to output transfer function, and the same is true for the closed loop output transfer function. The reason for that is obvious, because at the high frequencies, magnitude of the Tm becomes very small. Okay, so at high frequencies is open loop basically. All right, so this value remains the same with 20 log RC. Okay, and the borderline of this approximation is again this loop gain crossover frequency, and the frequency is larger than this omega C. It just copies the open loop load current to output transfer function, and below this frequency we are using the subtraction rule. Okay, so again the length of this is the same as this, and the length of this is the same as this, so on. Okay, and length of this should be same as this, right? And you know how to calculate slope, or so just to change the slope, okay, like this, right? For example, this is plus 1 slope, and this is 0. So plus 1 minus 0 is plus 1. So you have plus 1 slope here, okay? And then the equation of this, initially we have differentiation and differentiation gain. We use notation of kg, and there is a pole. This is 0. So 0 is coming here, and pole, one pole here, another pole is here, and another pole is here. Finally, ESR, 0, omega ESR is here, okay? So this is the equation of this closed loop output impedance, okay? And evaluate this. There are many ways of evaluating this. One simple way is you just consider magnitude of output impedance, this output impedance at very high frequencies, and just take the coefficient of this. So they are coming upstairs, and these two guys are coming downstairs, and the kg is here. That value should be same as this graphically, and from this you evaluate this, okay? So you know everything. Again, this is very simple, okay? You don't have to do any calculation, and just watch this, okay? Then you write down this equation, and maybe probably you want to know this, okay? Then there are many ways. One is this is peak value of output impedance is reducing this from here to there. Slope is -1, so this is -1 slope, and the final value is this one. Okay, you rearrange this, then peak value is this one, and this inside of this bracket is the linear scale, and the 20 log something is log scale. Okay, so you know this. Okay, this is also kind of important. You want to know the maximum value of closed loop output impedance. Okay. Okay, so this is the end of this lecture. It's relatively short. So here we discussed the loop gain shaping technique to design the loop and the voltage feedback compensation, and we use the asymptotic analysis method, graphical method, to evaluate, determine the asymptotic plot of closed loop transfer functions, and to extract the transfer function of those closed loop frequency domain performance. Okay, so